So go ahead and tell us your name and the year you graduated high school.
Rebecca Prado, I graduated in 2002.
My name is Sandra Rivera. I'm a teacher here at Silva, and I graduated from El Paso High School in 1993.
I'm Renee Flores. I graduated high school in 1990.
My name is Courtney Johnson. I graduated from Silva in 2002.
My name is Eddie Pedregon. I graduated in 1995.
Okay, we're gonna ask you a series of 5 questions related to beauty trends in the 90s. How would you describe beauty trends in the 90s?
What I remember was very bright neon colors.
Like no eyebrows. It's like one thing.
Having flawless skin.
A lot of tank tops, crop tops, kind of similar to actually what we see now.
Those trends are things that I hope would never come back.
I think beauty started to become more inclusive among various ethnic groups.
Lots of flannel. Lots of flannel.
Lace, beads, very flashy. Layers and layers and more layers, and the more accessories you had, the better.
We wore the big belt bottom jeans, so when it rained, you could see the water just soak up the pant legs. We had those big bottoms.
There's lots of like overly done like eyeliner. Like lots of eyeliner in the waterline.
Being thin became what represented beauty. Curves were not the popular thing back then. That's not what made you beautiful. So being very thin became very, very popular.
The 90s were more of like what you see now with like the mom jeans, folding the pants, rolling them up, button downs.
Because hip hop was very popular, it started to become very popular. We saw beauty like in African American groups. It became more accepted in Latino groups.
Frosty, like real frosty, like eyeshadows. I'm trying to think like how I did my makeup in the 90s.
Lots of name brands. That was really important. It was all about the Jordans.
Not a lot of foundation, you know, so like you'd be like no base and just like frosty eyelids, too much eyeliner, that kind of thing.
Daisy Fuentes was considered a beauty at the time.
Still, I rocked the big bangs with the curling iron that burned my forehead several times and had a nice brown mark on my forehead for a while.
So it was more inclusive, not just among the, just the white, right? It was also now Black, Latin, and so we started to see beauty become more acceptable among different ethnicities.
Big hair started to go away later in the 90s.
It was not something that I would rave about, but that was a style.
How did these beauty trends affect you then?
Occasionally I would wear the colors, the neon clothes, but I really wasn't one to follow the trends.
If you look back at the supermodels back then, like Cindy Crawford, they were very thin, right? And I think that's when a lot of that, students started to want to imitate that perception of beauty.
Well, I still don't have eyebrows, so.
So I was not a super fashionable kid, but I definitely remember struggling with some of the stuff because I was never a super thin kid either.
I don't know if they affected me like per se, but maybe they traumatized us who grew up back then. You know, when we look at how we used to dress, or especially how my sister used to dress.
I think like it stays with you, you know, the thought that what you think is beautiful as you're growing up, you know, kind of stays with you. And so sometimes I'll see, you know, because you know how like fashion repeats, right? And so like trends from the 70s, the 80s come back. And so I'll see trends from the 90s like coming back, and I like instantly like, oh, I like that, you know?
Trying to balance the like wearing what everybody else weared with what like my mom wanted me to wear because she wanted me to. I always told my mom she wanted to dress me like a 40-year-old woman. She wanted me to, you know, wear the like knee-length skirts with the blouse and you know stuff like that. And so it was a struggle. She's finally learned how to buy clothes for me, but you know when I was a kid it was definitely not conducive to the way I wanted to dress. So that was always a struggle, and it was a very self-conscious thing.
How much would you say beauty trends changed then compared to now?
You know, I think one of the things that I've really noticed is now the kids aren't into such as name brands. You know, they're not into you know, making sure they have like a Guess pair of jeans or name brand, you know, shirt.
I think the trends have are more subtle now.
I feel like it's coming back. Like I feel like we took a turn and we were doing different, you know, stuff in like the early 2000s. But then I feel like it's coming back. Like the way you guys dress, it just reminds me so much of the 90s and the late 90s. And you just, minus the bell bottom pants. Y'all are all about the skinny jeans, right? But other than that, like the top portions, I feel like you guys dress very similar to the